Hello and welcome everyone to the finals of the God Save the VGCS that took place in Birmingham in the UK. I'm actually not commentating this on my own. I am joined by Zystral from Yellow Card Vanguard, who actually organized the event.
Hello everyone. Yep, so this was the event we held a few weeks ago.
Last week actually.
It was the so it was the first event that VGCS we had in the UK. Hopefully more to come. It was a really well received event. We had a total of 66 players, which is 2 teams. And in fact, we even were joined by some friends of mine from France who came all the way to the journey. Thank you to them.
Yep.
Made the event really interesting. So yeah, we see here the B player slot of the finals from between Team Omaya Wamo Shinderu and Team Apocrypha.
Yep, so on the right we have Sagar Gohil. We don't know too much of his achievements, but the fact that he already managed to come this far with his team is already a pretty big achievement to start things off. And then on the left we have Dominic Mansi, who actually came top 8 in Springfest last year.
Yeah, Dominic's a personal friend of mine, and he's actually one of the more well-respected Shadow Paladin players we know in the UK. So he's switching to ZTB here, as we can see, where Sagar's playing Dominate, and so let's just see how this pans out the first few turns.
Yep, so
we see that both players have ridden the Perfect Guard, which is not too bad. They can both get them back, so they can just Soul Blast them and retrieve them quite easily.
Yep, and Sagar does ride up to the 10k, calls out the bear, and already starts off pretty aggressively from the very get-go. He does guard with the sheep that he just drive checked, so not giving away too many cards, and just takes the 1 damage and passes turn.
Yeah, so I know that I've played with Dominic a lot, like we test together, and he's been playing this deck quite a bit the last few weeks because in his eyes Luar just isn't strong enough right now. And I actually know that his personal opinion on the sheep is that he doesn't like it as much because a lot of people value the sheep very strong for the kill turn. So we see he gets the Merry block with the Chronojet Dran skill because not getting grade 3. But yeah, so like he finds that the sheep is only really effective during like gear next turns and heritage turns, and that you lose a lot of pressure on the first stride. So it's a bit, that's why he's, I think, opting to shield with it now while he can, especially against Dominate, where you want to maintain a damage lead, especially when like Rene gets the GB3.
Yeah, for sure.
It lets you safely no-god the Rene.
Yep. He only calls down the Mary block and swings for a 16. We can see that Sagar is contemplating, gets the crits, which is already a pretty good start against the Dominate matchup.
Yeah, we see there that Sagar loses both the countercharge trigger and the PG, 2 quite useful pieces in this particular matchup.
Yep.
You see Sagar gives him he gives up the first stride, get ready to ride.
Yep.
So the starter skill goes in, and then Dominic chooses to call the sheep from the drop zone
over
his
the Mary
block, which is quite interesting. So it's I believe, so he did this because he doesn't want Sagar to get the 2k onto the Mary block from the on-ride Dominate, I believe, which is...
I'm assuming that's the case because then he doesn't have to hit for any threatening numbers either, so it does work out. And no triggers on the second check either. And I think, Dominic is still maintaining a pretty good amount of damage. I think, like, if he can stay at, like, 2 or 3 for
Oh, no, that's why he called over the... That's why he called over the Mary block, so he could use the Chronojet Z stride skill.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's a really smart play from his side. Especially, like you said, it's not even, he's mainly a Shadow main, but being able to, think that fast, that early in the matchup is already quite impressive to see. So we can see he's searching for the leap target.
He's deciding his stride. I think what we're seeing here is, so he's going to stride skill, tucking the Tamagahane,
True.
which will get him probably a Merry block, which is, sorry, not Merry block, yeah, Merry block, which is always a fine target, like, it's a big boost. What I find interesting is we haven't seen Sagar's hand yet due to camera angle.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if he has the heal trigger to give up the first stride for.
That's true, because normally there wouldn't be as much of a reason. Even though Zanki does have the pressure, even on the grade 3 ride, it's still, like, I don't know that we can see the heal. I think the card in the very front is actually the heal, so that does make sense. Nice. So not only did he manage to, get something off the Zanki, but he's also going to be able to G-guard to get the GB3 with Rine. So it's really...
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah. So, just shuffling decks, and... yeah, we can see some things in Dominic's hand, but nothing to really tell us a whole story. He calls down the Serpent,
so I see the Serpent
and the Ox, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, it's just a vanilla 11k.
Yeah, nothing for now.
So I think it's interesting, like, so based on what we can see he's done, like, I feel that his hand's actually either full of triggers or just a little bit weak. Oh yeah, we see 2 heal triggers and a PG, so he's got not much action going on. So he's going for the Phoenix to put up the offensive pressure because he knows that he already has the pieces he needs, so he doesn't, like, going into split Pegasus for the plus is kind of irrelevant at this point.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't do much for his presence.
Now, normally, how much would this column be hitting for? Is it already a 21?
Yes, it's because it's plus 6k from Mary Block.
Right. That's true. Okay, and he's using the Avenue. Those are some fairly alright target. He gets the cruising, which is pretty important. He does have the Unicorn, which can get him another attack in order to push damage.
But he has to decide between Unicorn and cruising.
Or he takes both.
He doesn't have counter blast for both. Yeah, he just takes both. Yep. I guess he just gives up one of their pluses.
I'm assuming...
because they're both 11k attackers, which is good.
Yeah. He gets the stand. Gets the crit as well.
Crit is strong.
So that's
I want to talk about this, because a lot of players have been splashing for Heart Thump Worker lately.
That is true, yeah.
ZTB, which I find a really interesting... I like the call as well. It's very strong.
Yep.
I just think that if you're going to commit to playing non-ZTBs in the deck, in my opinion, you should commit the whole way and just play a bunch more just to get the maximum value. Like,
right.
The ceiling, because Dust is really strong.
Yeah, but if...
like, I get that Heart Thump fixes a lot of the issues with the deck, especially in terms of like Soul and Vanguard power and filtering, but sometimes I can imagine like why you wouldn't have it.
Yeah, so you can see he did G-Guard as we had predicted, and so now Dominic does have the 2 ZTBs face up so far. I believe that he does have at least 1 heal in hand, so, you know, slowly, potentially setting up for a Heritage turn. But
yeah, I think I saw 2 actually.
Ooh, that could actually be the setup, but it's going to depend on how Sagar is actually going to move through this turn.
Yeah, we'll have to see like whether or not the Rene itself is actually strong and scary enough.
I think the fact that Dominic is still on 2 damage is a really big factor, because in that sense he doesn't have to commit so much to actually, you know, use anything but the ZTB G-Guard, and in that way he can actually set up for the Heritage really easily.
Yep, so you see there that Sagar pays the cost for Rene. He's got the 21 Murashige on the side, and we'll see what happens now.
Yep, so he's...
So because GB3 is now active, Dominic can't even call triggers, so because they're still going to be 19 minimum with 2 crit, which is...
it's still quite
he's on 2 damage, like you said, so he's not like the end of the world, but it's still, yeah, kind of scary.
He calls 1 trigger. He does call both triggers in the end. So these will not be hitting for the biggest numbers, obviously.
Yeah. Like, Sheep is not... the crit is good for Dominic because he can still use it during his turn.
Yeah.
Sheep is kind of wasted, which is unfortunate, but I think it's still fine.
There goes the first G-Guard. Let's see which one he chooses to go for. I think in this case, there's no real reason to go for anything but the ZTB one, I would say.
Yep. I agree. Like, he needs... the only way he can get to the second stride Heritage is if he uses the ZTB one twice, or uses the ZTB one followed by the big Uluru to flip up the other.
Right.
There we go. We see
he actually went for the double. That's it. He already has 4 face-up ZTBs, and he countercharges from the heal. This he can.
I think he can afford to do that mainly because.
And he can safely take that damage too.
Yeah, exactly. He can probably safely take the Vanguard attack as well. I think that's why he G-guarded the Dominate attacks, because they have the guaranteed crit, whereas the Vanguard doesn't. And as we're about to see,
does get the stand though. So that will be another 16k swing. Followed by a 21k swing.
Followed by 21.
Or the 21k first, which is slightly questionable because you could potentially take this to lower the shield value for the next attack. So that is a interesting move, but we'll see. They're discussing numbers for the moment.
Yeah.
And he is going to take the 21k, so that was potentially banking on a damage trigger, and he drops the sheep to guard the last attack. So, we can see that he does have the 4 face-up ZTBs in the G-Zone, and that is the perfect setup for the Heritage turn. And Sagar has 6 cards in hand, if I'm not mistaken, and with 4 damage, that is looking very dangerous, because...
yeah, like, one of them is a PG, but it's not going to be enough to survive Heritage.
Even with Heritage, like, you're still going to have everything else to put up with, too. So it's not like it's just going to end there, either. So he does go for the Heritage.
Exactly.
This is a really strong play from Dominic's side.
He's also got 4 face-up damage, which is so much when you especially consider combos with like Spearhead and Metal Party. And
yeah, for sure.
I think this might be it. We'll see. He's just signing on the stride skill for now. Like, he has to push. I think he has to push the Sadatsugu to get the grade 1, which will be Merry Block.
Yeah.
He could have pushed his own sheep to put it back into the deck and get the effect again.
Yeah.
And maybe find a different grade 1 like Transit, but I think he just wants to get rid of Sagar's Intercept.
Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. So, does get the Mary block, and let's see how he's gonna proceed to move. It's just shuffling through. But I think honestly, like right now, Dominic, I think just from the very start, just by guarding from the very get-go and making sure that he stays at 2 damage through the first arena turn was a really strong move.
Yeah, for sure. Like the early guarding and the fact that Sagar didn't get any crits was a bit unfortunate for Sagar and very helpful for Dominic.
Yeah.
So we'll see here as he attacks. He no-guards.
Takes it, and there's the crit. Double crit even.
Oh.
That is gonna be it. He's gonna need a lot of heals to get out of that one. He gets the draw.
Who needs the extra
and
turn? He draws the heal.
Oh, just a missed
that's
frog.
unfortunate.
Sadly, no heals, but a very good match nonetheless. So, just a little piece of trivia, but even though Dominic won that game, his team actually lost the team fight. But overall, I think that was a really, really good match. Nice and sweet, but overall, a high level of play from both players.
Yep. It was really good play there.
Alright, so that's gonna be it for us today. Don't forget to check out Yellow Card Vanguard as well. I believe that you were saying that you might commentate one of the matches yourself with Tony, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be the A player of the finals.
Right, okay. So, do look forward to that, but that's gonna be it for me today. Don't forget to click the bell button as well as check out the social medias in the description and join the Discord channel if you haven't already. But if there's any final words?
Nope, I've got nothing else. Thank you for having me on, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that.
Alright, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.